I'm 25 years old and have been married to my childhood sweetheart, who's 24, for 2 years now. She's always wanted kids, but I haven't been very enthusiastic about the idea due to a situation in my family that she has no idea about. This led her to make a very naive mistake on my 25th birthday. My wife is naturally motherly. Her maternal instincts shine whenever she's around kids, whether in our extended family or with her kindergarten students. She knows exactly how to deal with kids and get them to listen to her, a gift that our family both envies and admires. Her deepest wish has always been to have a child of our own, something I wish I could give her. However, due to the difficult situation in my family, now is not the right time to consider kids. I always make sure she's on her pills to reduce the risk of an unwanted pregnancy. On my 25th birthday, my wife invited all our relatives for a huge celebration, saying she had a surprise for everyone. Most of them came, and it was a very enjoyable affair. But at the end of the party, things took a turn for the worse when she announced that she had been pregnant for a month and was waiting for the perfect opportunity to share the news. She was on her pill the entire time, but somehow the pills failed and she got pregnant. My sister immediately stood up, claiming she never expected us to be so insensitive and hurtful towards her. My wife was confused because she hadn't been told why I didn't want her to get pregnant. My sister had no idea about this, so she told us to never contact her again. My parents were furious and said they expected to enjoy the day, not be humiliated. My wife, getting angry, couldn't understand why everyone was blaming her for getting pregnant and announcing it. The party ended on a very disappointing note. Everyone left in a bad mood, and we were told to never contact my sister or her husband again. My parents warned us to make amends, or we would never see them again. My wife, frustrated, started shouting at me, asking where she went wrong. She had expected everyone to be overjoyed at the news of her pregnancy and realized I was hiding something from her, which she didn't like. I promised to talk to her about it later. I finally opened up to my wife about the situation in my family. I told her why my sister was so upset when my wife's pregnancy was announced. My sister has always wanted to be a mother, but fate hasn't been kind. She got pregnant recently, and we were all happy. We had decided to tell the extended family, including my wife, after a few months. However, a few months later, the doctor told us the baby would be stillborn, and due to complications, my sister would never be able to get pregnant again. She was shattered, first at losing her child and then at the prospect of never having a biological child. This incident happened only a month before my birthday. My sister has become a shadow of her former self, stopped going out and barely responds to texts or calls. She would only cry or stand numbly all day. She told her husband that her child had realized she would be a bad mum, so the child decided never to be born. It took weeks of therapy for her to return to even a semblance of who she used to be. Coming to my birthday party was supposed to be a distraction for my sister, not a reminder of her loss. My wife was speechless after I told her everything. She felt extremely guilty for triggering my sister, because they had always been the best of friends. She blamed me for not telling her sooner, saying that if she had known, we wouldn't be in this situation. She would have known not to mention her pregnancy in front of my sister, and would have supported her through this hard time. I see my wife's point, but since it was a tragic situation, I didn't want to tell her before my sister could. I thought it would be betraying my sister to share her news without her consent. My wife didn't agree and argued that, as my wife, she should be considered part of the close family. By excluding her, I made her feel like she wasn't part of the family. This led to a huge argument, and she took some time off to cool down so we wouldn't say anything we'd regret. I still don't see how any of this could be my fault. My wife came home, and asked to speak to my sister. I told her it wasn't a good idea since my sister was upset with her, but she insisted, so I let her go ahead. She called my sister to apologize. After multiple tries, my sister finally picked up and scolded my wife for creating such a painful situation, knowing she had just gone through a traumatic experience. She never expected this from my wife and thought she would act more sensitively. Despite my sister's initial anger, my wife managed to calm her down. She apologized sincerely, explaining she had no idea about my sister's situation because I hadn't told her. She said if she had known, she would have been there for her and supported her through everything. My sister was surprised to hear that my wife was unaware and had expected me to at least share the brief details, especially since everyone else in the family knew. My sister stopped blaming my wife, but started blaming me instead. Both of them felt all the misunderstandings could have been avoided if I had been upfront with my wife. I told them honestly that I wasn't sure if it was proper to tell her. My sister instantly scolded me, saying that not telling my wife was disrespectful, considering everyone else knew. My wife agreed, saying she felt hurt and blindsided by the situation. I saw their points and agreed that perhaps I should have told my wife to avoid all this confusion. I was just happy that my wife and my sister had made up and understood it was a misunderstanding. Both of them are still angry at me, but I'm sure they'll forgive me after I make amends. Now, the bigger problem is convincing my parents that my wife made a genuine mistake and didn't intend to offend anyone. I hope it goes well. Today my wife called my mother to apologize. My mother was extremely cold at first, asking if my sister had forgiven her yet. When my wife said yes, my mother agreed to hear her out. She explained it was a misunderstanding and that she had never been informed about my sister's loss. If she had known, she would have supported my sister throughout. She was genuinely sorry for the timing and never intended to humiliate anyone. She was almost in tears at this point. My mother was shocked to learn that I hadn't told my wife about my sister's stillbirth. I got an earful about how these things should always be shared with your spouse because she's part of the family. She was furious with me for not telling my wife. My mother assured my wife that she had nothing to apologize for. She was actually happy about the pregnancy and the prospect of a grandchild. The situation wasn't ideal, but we could make the best of it. She even apologized to my wife for being angry without knowing she didn't intend to hurt anyone. Honestly, I'm just glad everyone made up. They're still angry at me, and I understand why. It took courage for my sister to accept my wife's pregnancy so happily, and I respect that. I feel for my wife. She had no idea why everyone was so angry with her. She was just happy about her pregnancy and wanted to share the news with everyone. I really need to practice being more open with my wife because that seems to be a foreign concept to me. I hope I've learned a lesson from this incident. This seems like a series of misunderstandings rather than anyone's fault. I'm happy everyone got to know the truth in the end, but I feel for my sister. Imagine losing your child and then seeing your brother and best friend enjoying parenthood. I'm the oldest of 5 and I'm 19. My 2 sisters are 14 and 7. I just started a new job and finally have some spending money for myself. I deal with low blood sugar occasionally, so about a month ago I bought a little cart to keep in my room and filled it with snacks, drinks and other essentials like lotion and extra chapstick. My siblings are vultures when it comes to food. Anytime there's a snack they like, they'll eat it until it's gone, then blame each other. That's why my snack cart is in my room. I noticed things disappearing from it, so I confronted my siblings. My 2 brothers admitted and apologized, but my sisters claimed innocence. I let it go, but snacks were still missing. I snooped in my sisters' room and found wrappers and bottles under their beds. I was irritated and wanted to catch them in the act. So the next day, I pretended to leave for work, snuck back in and hid in my closet. It took a while, but eventually I heard my door open and my older sister directing the younger one on what snacks to take. I came out of the closet, caught them in the act, and I was pissed. I yelled and kicked them out. When they tried to reason with me, I used a giant stuffed animal to block them out. My baby sister cried, and the older one said I was being an ass. My mum gave me crap about it, saying I needed to bring my snacks downstairs because anything, food-wise, should be shared. I found this hypocritical since she keeps her favourite snacks in her room. I feel bad for getting angry over something so trivial. I'm the oldest and should set examples, yet here I am, mad over snacks. Am I the asshole for yelling and kicking them out? Would I be the asshole if I barred them from my room and locked the door when I leave? For those mentioning it, diabetes is common in my family. My brother is type 1 and my dad is type 2. I started dealing with low blood sugar before my doctor told me I was high risk for diabetes. I keep healthy snacks high in sugar or protein when needed. I pay a decent amount of rent, and I'm trying to finish school so I can't afford to live on my own. I have a lock on the door, but my siblings took the copy I gave to my mum. I'm going to change the lock and have a serious talk with them later. Tell your mum you'll share as soon as she does. Hypocrite. NTA. You should have installed a lock sooner. Get a lockable unit to store your snacks and save up to move out. If they're yours and you pay for them, your parents are being unreasonable to suggest you must share, especially if they don't follow the same rule themselves. My sister, 35, is getting married this summer. I'm considering not attending because we had a fight, leading to mostly no contact except for her reaching out regarding this topic. Despite not being close, she asked for my oldest daughter to be a junior bridesmaid or older flower girl. We have 5 kids, and her relationship with them, especially my 2 daughters, is part of why we fought. She always fawned over my oldest daughter, calling her cute, pretty, and sweet, while ignoring my youngest daughter and my boys. I asked her to stop, reminding her that the other kids could hear, and I didn't want my oldest to value herself only for her looks. But she refused. The final straw was when my youngest asked if she looked pretty, and my sister ignored her, continuing to praise my oldest. I told her she wasn't being kind, but she argued that my oldest would be admired for her looks her whole life, and we needed to accept that. I told her to leave my family alone until she realized how wrong she was. That's why I'm not sure we'll go to the wedding. Her asking for my oldest to be in the wedding set off alarm bells. I feared she'd pull the same crap, maybe even more, since she'd decide how my daughter would dress and look. I said no without considering it further. It felt wrong given the context. My sister is mad, and my parents think it's wrong to deprive my oldest of the choice because I never asked her. My sister said her wedding day would be perfect with my daughter there and accused me of spoiling it and punishing her for petty reasons. Am I the asshole? NTA. I struggle to understand why you'd consider going or letting your oldest go. From the outside, it seems clear-cut. Avoid the situation. Your sister's behaviour is easy to stop if she had any respect for you and your children. It can mess up your kids, including your oldest, to be treated like this, and your gut feeling is right. NTA. Your sister has shown she only cares about your oldest. I fear for her own children if she has them. I would vote not going to the wedding at all. Send a gift and take all your beautiful children somewhere fun. It might seem petty to some, but your kid's happiness is more important than her special day.